Hi everybody, welcome to WrestleMom's Basement. Joe, this is past punishment review for me kicking his ass into a tie at the Royal Rumble and Takeover.
That's not kicking anyone's ass.
He still hasn't beaten me in 4 months. That will be me. The J.O. Not my favorite wrestler of all time is back Jeff Jarrett. I can't do it. But he's not my favorite wrestler of all time, but we'll see where he lands in my top 100 WrestleMania. But I was very nice and generous. I almost gave him a hog wild. But I was like, I respect you too much right now, because I'm not going to let you get away with seeing biker tees just for yourself. If I'm seeing biker tees, I want to see them with you, because I love me some biker tees. So we had an old bash at the beach, 1996.
He really likes biker titties.
Damn right.
I think he actually just likes saying biker titties.
Yeah, I know. I do. Yeah. It's kind of fun and romantic. I want to give a brief background on this before I do my review. Anyway, I gave him this because it's very important, because we're coming up to the 23-year mark of that historic event. And 23 years is a milestone.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of my favorite WCW pay-per-views of all time. And one of my favorite pay-per-views of all time for WCW. I used to watch this all the time as I was a kid. Did you?
You're
right.
I watched it, but I don't think I kept on watching.
But you didn't get the meaning of it when you first watched it.
That's true.
Did you?
No.
Besides, oh look, Diesel's and Razor Ramon in WCW, right?
Yeah, that was pretty much me.
Yeah, see. I'm the brains.
Yeah, I didn't find out the importance of Hulk Hogan until like WrestleMania 16, where they had the WrestleMania all day thing. And I was like, holy crap, Hogan's actually important.
Every time you say that, I wanted to go see the cardiologist that you went to 2 years ago. That just hurts me. Here he is reviewing Bash at the Beach 1996. That was...
Well, anyway, before I start, I want to give a special thank you for me stealing your review, Kevin Pantoja. I'm literally just going through all the matches that he wrote the descriptions of, the grades on my own.
How disrespectful. Why did you give us such a low grade? A 5 out of 10. The pay-per-view is still very good for everything that happens. I'm pissed.
So here we have it. Bash of the Beach, 1996. It happened on July 7th, 1996. At the Ocean Center in Daytona Beach. Attendance, 8,300.
Not that big for that time. It's better than my 2,500 for my pay-per-view.
Alright, so a little bit of spoiler alert. This is where the NWO officially formed.
Why would you tell us? And then you're going to make us wait 3 hours until the end of the video.
3 hours. It's going to take like a half hour at most.
Just a warning, my pay-per-view is going to take like an hour and a half.
For being a company with endless budget to sign stars, WCW has the worst production in wrestling history, which I do agree to that. Because their video package into the thing was just kind of like if you have like the first PlayStation and you got like the trailer for the games before the actual game started. The trailer kind of reminded me of that. It was just a lot of action shots, but here they slipped in like headlines that said invading force and comes to WCW, the Outsiders attack Bischoff, other things like that.
Let me butt in here for a moment, if I may.
Yes.
Compared to WWE, yes. Compared to Impact, yes. Compared to AEW, more than likely, yes. They do have the worst of mainstream companies. Ella. Yeah.
That's fair enough, yes.
ECW. Yeah, hell, oh, by the way, I'm gonna become like Vince McMahon to you people. By the time I'm done with my review. I'm ready for my head to get torched. Yeah, so before we go cold WCW, the worst production quality.
Well, here, I'll actually read his part since you added that. WWE still had top-notch team. Even ECW had promo videos that worked perfectly for them. WCW looks low budget, has stock music, and just everything is bad. Commentary tonight consists of Tony Schiavone, Bobby the Brain Heenan, and Dusty Rhodes.
Oh wait, is she just talking about video packages? Or is she talking about production quality overall?
Video packages.
Video packages are kind of like, but when you get to the production, there's music playing in the middle of these damn matches.
Like WWE has, I think his name is Adam Panucci.
The redhead.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, never mind. I think about production because I was going to say these people, they have music playing in the middle of the matches. I had no idea what the hell was going on.
I think TNA for the longest time had David Mahadi, who actually worked for the WWF and did like all the really cool ones,
like that
from like 2000.
The Desire ones, even in the late '90s, the one with Gorilla Monsoon, Fred Blassie, and the Weird House. Actually, it was there in '97 too, because when they did the Attitude one.
Yeah, where Austin's like walking in the yard and it's like chain link fence all around.
Undertaker, Shamrock, Ahmed Rock.
Yeah, that was all him.
DX Jack. So I'll give it. I'll give it the
WCW did not have any of that.
To be fair, ECW had budget negative, so.
Alright, so let's get to the first match: Psychosis versus Rey Mysterio Jr. An ambitious start considering how unknown these guys were at the time to the general audience. They start the match with some mat wrestling as I see a half crab, bow and arrow, and cross arm breaker within the first few moments. Also to note, Mike Tenay joins commentary for this match because he can call the moves the other guys can't. And he also has inside knowledge of international wrestling as well too. I'll add that part. They basically admit this, which is sad. They show off athleticism with some springboard moves before Psychosis hits a dive to the outside, which blows the commentators' minds. Back inside, Psychosis hits a leg drop and then guillotine leg drop that Dusty claims he was going to call, but Mike Tenay beat him to it. Sure, Dusty. Psychosis applies a head scissors to wear down Mysterio. They fought to the apron, and Ray catapults Psychosis into the ring before snapping off a Hurricanrana that drives the crowd wild. Ray goes back to working the leg so that he can ground Psychosis. Ray ties him up in the corner and drop kicks him as Tenay continues to be the MVP of this commentary team. I agree wholeheartedly here. Mike Tenay was pretty much the one holding this match, the commentary for this match together. Drop toe hold and another head scissors from Psychosis puts him back in the driver's seat. He then lays out Ray outside and hits the top rope senton. And again, the crowd has no idea this awesome style existed. Back inside, Psychosis hits an enziguri, and Heenan is confused at how Tenay knows the moves of these. Ray turns around with a cartwheel that gets on his opponent's shoulders, and he snaps off another Hurricanrana. He hits a springboard dropkick and then leaping Hurricanrana from the top rope, taking Psychosis off the apron. Ray gets a near fall with a springboard moonsault before a springboard dropkick takes Psychosis outside. Ray follows with twisting a side moonsault, and Heenan is again confused, calling it an Asai hip toss. Back inside, Psychosis counters the springboard Hurricanrana with a stiff powerbomb or two. Psychosis sets up Ray on the top rope for an outsider's edge of sorts, but Ray reverses it into a gorgeous Hurricanrana to finally win in 15 minutes and 18 seconds. For a pure wrestling standard for the match, it was my favorite match of the night. This was just Ray at his absolute youngest and healthiest until now. For Ray, where he was just almost unbelievable to see at this point. And Psychosis is probably one of his best opponents at that age. So when you have just a guy that can go absolutely insane with moves and someone who can actually work with him there, you're gonna end up with great stuff. A. Mean by God Gene interviews the United States champion Conan and asks him to explain the finish to the previous match. Conan does so, and it's like, seriously, guys, I have to explain this. He stumbles a bit through a promo on his match with Flair tonight. So we go right to the next match, and it's called a Carson City Silver Dollar match between Big Bubba with Jimmy Hart versus John Tenta. Big Bubba, if you don't know, is Big Boss Man of WWE fame, and John Tenta is Earthquake of also WWE fame. I'll actually just let him explain what a Carson Silver Dollar is. Obviously, it's a match where you retrieve a sock full of silver dollars from a pole in the corner. A sock that looks like a condom, by the way. And that is absolutely true. That's literally how they explained it. It's a sock full of silver dollars. By the way, Russo is working in WWE at this point, by the way.
And does have a major role in the movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
Tenta has no music and is bald, except for the right side of the back of his head. We get slow-paced action. I use the term action in the loosest way possible. Tenta steps on Big Bubba and tries to climb. The sock is too far up for anyone not named the Giant to reach. Seriously, the thing was like 20 feet. The pole was like 20 feet tall. So I have no idea how they expected them to climb it. They do sort of get around it, but I'll get to that when it happens. Bubba hits a poor-looking back suplex and climbs. He is standing on the top rope and is maybe another Big Bubba and a half away from reaching. Tenta stops and tries again, but realizes how far away he is, so he decides to unhook the pole. Wise move, since WCW stupidly placed the sock absurdly high. Bubba gets a belt and chokes Tenta out. He then ties Tenta to the ropes and whips him with the belt. Tenta cuts himself loose after kicking Bubba and cuts off the stuff holding to the pole in the first place. Or tries cutting the straps holding the pole in the first place. It was literally held together by ratchet straps, by the way. Bubba stops him and makes Jimmy Hart climb the pole. See? Hart looks scared for his life since the top of the pole is like 6 stories up. He retrieves it, but Tenta takes out Bubba, gets the sock, and lays out Bubba with it to thankfully end this. John Tenta wins by pinfall in 9 minutes and 14 seconds. Yes, this match was terrible. For some reason, people thought it was good to have a silver dollar filled sock on like a 30-foot pole. Like, I'm serious, the pole was like as tall as the Hell in a Cell. And then these two guys just didn't work at a fast pace. Both guys actually probably had seen better days, and it just wasn't a good mix all around. I gave it an F. Post-match, John Tenta takes out the silver dollars and lays them on Bubba's chest. I guess Bubba is dead. Unfortunately, that was a reference. Commentary reminds everyone that Eric Bischoff is missing, and they basically beg him to reach out if he can. So that's possible murder and kidnapping on the same night. Mean by God Gene interviews Sting, Macho, and Luger, the WCW team in tonight's main event. They're all in Sting's face paint, and Macho steals the show. He speaks first and kills before Luger stumbles through his part to the point where Macho shouts, "What's the point?" Sting does fine, but goodness, Macho is the greatest. Taped fist match. Literally, you can tape your fist in this match.
Lord of the Ring, is it?
Yeah, for the Lord of the Ring, too.
Tape fist match.
Yeah. Diamond Dallas Page versus Hacksaw Jim Duggan. I don't know if they built it up during the prior weeks, but Dusty calls Jim Duggan the master of the tape fist. I had no clue. DDP wasn't quite a star yet, but he was still like 45 years old here. He tries to shoulder block Duggan, but fails and oversells it by falling all the way outside. Being a heel, DDP rakes the eyes and tapes Duggan's legs around the corner. It's a taped fist match. DDP, not taped feet. This guy is a total rule breaker. Nick, the world's greatest referee, Patrick, unties Duggan, but that allows DDP to wail on him. Duggan no-sells and starts to beat the hell out of DDP as Dusty starts speaking in gibberish on commentary. They brawl outside for a while. Also, they're fighting in the ring that DDP won in Battle Ball or something like that. Shivani calls it one of the most prestigious things in our sport, but he has never heard of this ring. DDP tries to climb up top, but he gets crotched, and Duggan brings him down to the mat hard. Duggan and his 80s offense smashes DDP into the turnbuckle 10 times. DDP then uses the rope to his advantage and hits the diamond cutter for the win in 5 minutes and 39 seconds. Yeah, not really a big fan of taped fist matches, but this one still wasn't any good. Hacksaw just wasn't that good, and DDP, I think, is at this point is also miscast. You'll see a stronger DDP later on in WCW. Pretty soon later on, but later on. Jim Duggan attacks DDP after the match. Tony Schiavone claims, yes, he hit him while he was down. God forbid a heel did this. He would be the scum of the earth in Tony's eyes. More from Mean Gene backstage as they interview the Giant, Jimmy Hart, and Kevin Sullivan. This is weird. The Giant says that Sullivan isn't a weak link as Sullivan does strange movements. I'd like to point out that I never found Sullivan interesting in the least. Same here, bro. Gene also badmouths Hart before sending it to Lee Marshall and his mustache at the entrance ramp with Chris Benoit and Arn Anderson. It's Arn Anderson and Benoit against Giant and Sullivan, and if a member of the Horsemen can get the pin on a member of the team gets a world title shot. Anderson delivers his usual good promo. Benoit talks about being silent and violent. I much prefer their stuff to the Dungeon of Doom stuff. Fully agree as well. So here we go. 4-man dog collar match. The Nasty Boys versus the Public Enemy. First things first, no clue why this isn't just a tag team dog collar match, and it's instead a 4-man dog collar match, like it's a Fatal 4-Way or something. Good point. Jerry Sags is tied to Rocker Rock. Brian Knobbs is connected to Johnny Grunge. Once things started, they instantly go outside, and we get what Dusty calls the Double Trouble Bash at the Beach Bubble, which is a split screen so you can see both sides of the action. A graphic behind the split screen is just the worst kind of production. Yeah, it looked like a kindergarten trying to do computer graphics. They fight through the aisle. They fight through the aisle as Knobbs knocks out Grunge with an inflatable shark. Yep, and Grunge sold it. And Dusty also lost his mind at that part. He beat him with the shark! Yeah, like that. Sags try...
That was pretty good.
Hey, not really, but...
Yeah, it was. The shark!
Sags tries to one-up Knobbs by hitting Rock with a surfboard. Shivani, in his infinite wisdom, shouts, "You can do a lot more than a surfboard than you can with a shark." we get a near fall on the surfboard as well as this is just this is just ridiculous. Rocco climbs the lifeguard seat and hits a slow front flip off of it onto Sags. They continue to just bash each other with various weapons. They split screen. The bad production makes this tough to enjoy, but the guys are at least trying. Rocco puts Sags through a table in the aisle. The split screen ends as they're back in the ring, and Rocco goes to put Sags through a table, but Sags pulls him off by the chain, off top, and bounces off the table instead of getting through it. That kind of looked painful. Sags lays out Rocco on the table and leaps off the second rope, but it doesn't break. Sags sends Rocco through the ropes, and he is quickly tied up badly. They hang grunge by the chain and send Rocco into a clotheslining him with the end. Nasty Boys win in 11 minutes and 25 seconds. Call me crazy, but this match was actually kind of fun. They actually seem to change up the weaponry a little bit more than you would see out of the hardcore matches, especially in WCW.
Right.
It may have the same basic formula of just hitting each other with weapons, but I think they at least throw a little bit more with it. They changed up their arsenal a little bit, and I guess in this time period it made it a little bit more fun. And plus, I probably would have hated it more if the pay-per-view sucked, and this pay-per-view didn't suck, so C-.
Did you squeeze the next match in, or?
Yeah, I think so. Oh. Because this is WCW commentary, this match sold nothing, tuned into Nitro tomorrow, and everyone continued to brawl. They then go to the back discussing who the mystery third man will be. In the main event, we cut to Mean Gene Okerlund in the back, and the man, they must be paying him a ton because WCW uses him so often. He literally says a lot of nothing, and that was useless. Yeah, they literally had him in a hallway with police officers behind him, and apparently Hall and Nash and the third man were in the room. I believe Bobby Heenan tells Gene to ask the police officer staying behind them if anyone's went in. That wasn't Hall and Nash. For some reason, Gene doesn't ask them. But it's Mean Gene, so you can forgive him.
That's right.
WCW World Cruiserweight Championship, Dean Malenko versus Disco Inferno. Disco talks about dancing before the bell. Dean has such a badass theme music. Anyway, Malenko is pissed and throws Disco out of the ring instantly. He takes him back inside and gets a near fall before continuing to pound away. Malenko hits a brainbuster that literally made me leap from my seat. That should have been it, but Disco kicks out. The champion continues to beat the hell out of Disco for a while. Dean has targeted the leg, and because I guess he really doesn't want Disco dancing. Commentary has completely given up on trying to call this match as they just keep talking about the main event. Disco finally gets offense with a series of punches and the Eddie Gilbert hot shot. Dean gets serious and attacks him outside again. Back inside, he works him over with another submission. Disco reaches the rope and hits a neck breaker that Tony Schiavone calls a jawbreaker. No, Tony, you're wrong. Malenko fights back and ties him up in the Texas Cloverleaf, but Disco pulls him into a small package for two. Malenko gets pissed, hits a Tiger Bomb, and puts the Cloverleaf on this time, making Disco give up in 12 minutes and 4 seconds to retain the Cruiserweight title. Funnily enough, it almost seems to be a trend where Disco is actually impressed in matches that I didn't think he would impress me in.
Booker T.
Yeah, Booker T. And I thought this one he at least held up his end of the bargain and Malenko did some pretty cool looking stuff and kicked his ass. That's more than what you can ask out of a Disco Inferno match, so B-. I could probably get the next match in, too.
This bummer.
So we can get this shit show out of the way. Joe Gomez versus Steve Mongo McMichael with Deborah McMichael. Mongo is the worst horseman of all time, and nobody should even debate that.
Paul Roma.
Did Paul Roma actually wrestle?
Brother Mongo.
Anyway, Mongo slaps Joe Gomez around, seems like he should be the heel. Gomez gets a near fall with a crossbody, and he doesn't look Hispanic at all. This is incredibly dull so far.
He is actually Hispanic.
Mongo hits a backbreaker that looks like crap for 2. He applies a camel clutch and then a sleeper hold that Gomez counters with the jawbreaker. Mongo oversells it in a negative way. Mongo tries a figure 4 shortly after, but it gets stopped with a small package for 2. Why is this still going on? They trade punches until Gomez hits 2 drop kicks in a row. They totally botch a sunset flip sequence before Mongo hits a tombstone for the win in 6 minutes and 44 seconds. Yeah, this was a squash match on a pay-per-view. I'm usually against those, and this one was 6 minutes. For Steve Mongo McMichael and Joe Gomez. If you don't know that's a bad idea, I don't know what to tell you. F.
But to go to this, to debate his point, Joe Gomez is in fact Latino.
Oh yes.
His real name is Joseph Gomez.
Look at that.
I know it's going to be the big talking point for the comment section.
Alright, well, anyway, I'll get to the next match.
So
WCW...
Okay, Matt, up next.
Might as well then.
Oh, okay. Kohei versus Ric Flair, I believe, for the United States title.
Yes.
Up next.
Up next.